Hi everyone, I'm JoJo with Center Stage 1 podcast here at the beautiful Bay Street Players House. And who do we have with us today? It's Marsha. Hi, Marsha.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have you here and talk about your art. So in case no one knows who you are yet, because we're about to get to know you a lot, tell us what your art form is.
We basically paint and restore carousel horses, coin-operated kiddie ride horses, and antique rocking horses.
Wow, now that's unusual. How did you get into that?
I was born horse crazy, but I spent the first 21 years of my career as a fashion designer.
What? Now, how does a fashion designer get into restoring horse mobilia's designs?
Well, like I said, I was always horse crazy.
Yeah.
And the garment district is probably one of the most burnout industries in the world. And after 21 years, you no longer are in the design room. You are now one of the bosses or running things. And the thing you love to do the most, you're not doing anymore. And the world was changing. Everything was going offshore or to China to be made. And I think I had had enough.
Yeah.
So I opened a little store in a little antique village that was small. Carousel horses and giftware and things like that. And T-shirts we hand-painted and things. And somebody brought me in a carousel horse that had to be redone. And that was it.
You were hooked after that? What about it made you fall in love with it?
What was the two things I loved the most? Horses and color.
Yeah.
You know, and I always like bright colors. I'm not a pastel-y type person. Mm-hmm. And carousel horses, the original ones, are all bright colors.
Yeah.
So I loved it from the first minute I painted one.
That's beautiful.
And then from past history, you learn that, you know, you can either sit there and wait or you can develop a business. So you go from there.
That's awesome. And then what materials did you first start out with, especially with the first horse you worked on? What was the material and what type of paints?
I think the very first one, was a fiberglass one.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, you start learning about the history and what they make them of and what the differences are. And the very first one was fiberglass. And I think the first one I painted probably with artist oils. Okay. And that didn't last long.
Oh. So trial and error to figure out what would work.
Well, what wouldn't make me sick either.
Oh, yeah. Those fumes, for sure.
But again, you start learning, start researching and see what other people were using. There's a difference, again, what industry uses and what people who do individual horses use. Mm-hmm. But ended up using probably mostly sign painters' paints. And Japan colors and acrylics just on the small inside pieces.
Okay. And those tend to last. I know these, the ones that you're restoring aren't really necessarily going outside. They're going to be indoors and protected from the weather, but do you still put coating over it to make it last much longer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, going back from the beginning, they always did bright colors, but they always had problems with certain colors.
Yeah.
Red, navy, black, always crocked, so they faded out. They didn't have the clear coats that we have now. and the varnishes that they put on yellowed everything. So they might keep the color underneath, but it was so yellow on top that the
Couldn't
color was
tell.
completely changed.
Ah, my gosh. And so when you get started, do you have to remove all the coating of what was left in order to get it started fresh new?
Depending on the horse, most of the antiques we get now, the paint's gone, or there's very little left. We try to find out what the original colors were. You know, maybe you're lucky and you can find some little paint chips, or you can get it between the seams and find some paint or something. So we try to find the original colors. But again, most people now really don't want those colors.
What do they want?
What colors that they're living with?
Oh, okay. So it
Colors
matches
that
their
are out there
decor.
now. And again, if it was a $50,000 horse, yeah, I'd say go back to what the original colors were. But if it's a fiberglass or a resin cast or a aluminum or whatever, do what you're going to live with. Enjoy it.
That's
It's
true.
It's your baby.
I love that. Now, do you ever get to learn the history of these horses? And if so, do you know what the oldest horse you've worked on so far?
The oldest one we've worked on so far, and I think I have 2 in the house right now, probably 1870s. Wow. And that was before the carousels went up and down.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
They only went around.
Round and around, yeah.
And they called them track machine horses because they went around the track. And like I said, no top pole, and they didn't go up and down. Europe made a lot of them. The United States, there were several factories. There were some factories in Mexico. Home shops where basically they were carved at home, in homes, brought into the factory, put together, and then painted.
Oh, okay.
So that was one way they did it back early 1900s or whatever. But carousel horses, for the most part, were made in factories. They were not made by one person, one horse at a time.
Yeah.
And there were the carousel era. The big carousel era in the United States was 1895 to 1937, maybe up to 1940.
Wow.
And there were probably like 6 main companies. And again, they were companies. So just like Disney or Universal or anywhere, everybody had a job. You had a carver who carved the legs. You had a carver who carved the tails, one who carved the necks, and then the best carver in the shop was the head man.
The head man.
So he was the one that did the heads. But they were very smart. They would block out a body. And the bodies on the real antique carousel horses are hollow. They're what they call a coffin box construction. It's a hollow box, and the detail is all carved on the outside. And like I said, they were very smart. They would interchange the legs. They would interchange a tail, a head. So it was basically the same body, but it's different now.
Wow.
You know, so they could have the same body used, and again, depending on the size of the carousel. Carousels ranged from 2 rows to 5 rows, from, I want to say 18 feet, might have been 15 feet, up to 60 feet. And a 5-row would have been 60 feet. And again, how many horses were on the carousel? You could have a carousel with, I think the 2 oldest ones in the country, one is in Martha's Vineyard. And we just saw that a couple of years ago. I think that only had like maybe 18 horses on it.
Okay. That's why the lines are so long to get on them, because there's only so many horses for the kids to hop on.
And then now the ones that are in the malls, they make them virtually any size up to 50 or 60 feet.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, the themes, they go with anything that the buyer wants.
Talking about themes, I've seen the pictures, and you've done different types of animals as well. A frog, and we saw a half horse, half mermaid. And what was that called again?
Or a hippocampus.
Hippocampus. I bet that wasn't on your vocabulary list.
But no, they did more European than in the States. Europe did do a lot of animal carousels. They had carousels that were just cows or just fish, cats. What else do they do? Well, the popular animals, always goats, cows, fish, dogs. And then you started getting into, in the States, they started doing menagerie animals.
Oh, tell us
You
about
get
that.
the lions, the tigers,
And the bears?
bears,
Oh, my.
an occasional polar bear,
Yeah.
seals, giraffes. Giraffes were very popular. What else? Elephants. Just about zebras. Lots of zebras.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I would always go towards when I hopped on. When I was a kid, they were in all our malls, and I would always have to go there and get my popcorn and go on the carousel, and I would look for the zebra. Never saw a giraffe. If I saw that, I know I would have gone for that, because where do you hang on to the railing for the giraffe if it's all the way up there?
Well, some of the animals, again, different. On the bigger carousels, those are called stationary carousels.
Yes.
Like Disney. That
Oh,
carousel's
okay.
not going anywhere. It's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not going to move it. It's going to stay right where it is. So they have 3 different style horses on there. The outer row horses, if you look at them, they're all standing. They have 3 or 4 legs on the ground or on the base.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't jump up and down. They just stand
They
there.
stand.
Okay. Then usually the next row, they would have 1 or 2 or 3 rows of what they call jumpers.
And that's when they're halfway up like this?
Well, a jumper is anything with all 4 legs in the air.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
they're in motion. Gotcha.
They're in motion. They could be jumping, running,
Hopping,
pacing,
if it's a
trotting,
rabbit.
anything with 4 legs in the air.
Okay.
And that was a jumper. And then the third type was called a prancer.
Ah.
And again, prancers don't move. Mm-hmm. The back legs are on the ground. Mm-hmm. Front legs are in the air. Mm-hmm. But the front legs can be up or down. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. But the back legs are on the ground.
Okay.
So they, again, were stationary animals.
And then there's a carriage for people that don't want to be on any of those, and they just want to be around in the area.
Yeah. And now they've adopted a lot of that for handicapped children.
That's true.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
Because years back it wasn't accessible. Mm-hmm. So the chariots or the benches or whatever have been adopted for handicap. And then the other type of carousels are the traveling carousels. And those are the ones that you see at the county fairs, at the little parks. They're usually 2-row, maybe 3-row. Usually in the 20s on horses, 20 plus horses or so. And all of those go up and down.
Okay.
So those, they take apart, and they take them apart in a number of hours. The carnies are well trained.
Super fast.
They know super fast. They know how to take them apart.
Yes.
They load them in a truck that's got racks for them.
Very organized because they know where to find
everything
it.
goes back in its place, and it goes on to the next city.
So essentially, as you work on these things, you're repainting history here. You're repainting stuff that you grew up with, I grew up with, and then my children are still seeing parts of it, just not as frequently as I'm sure you and I did, but they're still around. And are you seeing a growth in request for your artwork and for what you do?
With the internet, especially since the pandemic, we're seeing a lot more people buying and painting their own horse.
Oh, so
That has
DIY.
grown exponentially.
Okay.
And a lot of people, because they had so much time off, or they're working at home, figure why not try it? And we encourage that. It's something you would enjoy, and I always encourage when carvers call us and somebody's carving a horse for their child or their grandchild. To me, that's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't think that's replaceable, and I think that's a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Doesn't always end up that way, but so we encourage anybody who's doing that, and we sell the supplies to help them do that.
Well, that's fantastic. Not only do you create them, you sell the ability for them to create it themselves and lessons on how to do that.
And well, we don't give lessons. I think there's 2 carving schools in the country
Oh, okay.
where they can actually go and carve their own carousel horse.
Wow. But you give them the supplies in case they want to learn either another location or online, but you give them what they need in order to create it. Is that correct?
Well, to help, we give them the information to help paint it. We sell them the books. We sell them the brass poles and things like that to go with it, and the other accessories, glass eyes and things like that.
Well, that's great. Well, like I said, you're creating history here and teaching people how to do it themselves. And if they want to reach you and find you, where do they go?
Oh, they can find us on the internet. Everything's on the internet now.
What's that website?
It's carouselworkshop.com.
Okay. And you're also local. So where's your location?
We're in DeLand, Florida, and it's by appointment.
Okay, great. So make sure you go to that website. If you want to meet Marsha herself, you can go there too. In DeLand, like she said, by appointment. So make sure you let them know ahead of time. But it's a pleasure meeting you today, learning about the history of carousels and what you've been working on. And I can't wait for them to see some images of what you've worked on. And we'll have that connected to the notes as well. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone for watching today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.